Big Ed here, and today I'm bringing you the Ruger Super Blackhawk. This one happens to be chambered in .44 Magnum. This gun was originally designed by Ruger in 1955 in .357 Magnum. In 1956 it came out in .44 Magnum. So when Ruger designed this, they basically looked at a Colt single action army, and they took the single action army and they beefed it up to handle pressures of a .44 Magnum. So the frame's a lot bigger, the barrel's heavier duty. The gun is just a larger gun, and it's made with more modern steel, so it's going to be a lot stronger. And I have shot my hand loads out of this, which are coming out of here at 1,500 feet per second, so it handles stout bullets, and it does not flinch. So single action, just like the original Colts were, which basically means you cock the hammer, squeeze the trigger, and fire it. And there's no double action, so the trigger's dead right now, and the only way to get this gun to fire again is to cock the hammer. So every time you cock it, the cylinder rotates to give you a fresh round, and then you squeeze the trigger and it goes bang. Another one of the differences they did was there's a transfer bar in there, which allows this revolver to be carried safely with 6 rounds in it. Original Colt single actions, you only wanted to carry with 5 rounds in there and leave the empty chamber underneath the hammer. That way the firing pin on the hammer wouldn't set the round off when you were carrying the revolver. Also, when you load this revolver, it does not have half cock. There is no half cock. It's either full cock or the hammer's down. To get the cylinder to free up, you're going to open up the loading gate right here. Get up close. You can see the loading gate. And what the loading gate does is it frees up the cylinder, and then you can rotate it and verify that the revolver is empty. And then also that allows you to unload it, and then you have your little ejector rod right here, and that allows your empty brass to come out. So let's go ahead and load this Blackhawk. Open up our loading gate, put one round in there, rotate it over, put in a second. Definitely takes a little practice to get to do this. I've done it a few times now, so I'm kind of getting the hang of it. It is fun. I definitely dig this. And the other thing is this gun's machined pretty well. I definitely like handling this gun. So as you can see, we got a fully loaded cylinder right there. And we'll close our loading gate, index the cylinder. We're ready to roll. Oh yeah. So this firearm does come with a provision to remove the cylinder. So this little button right there, you're going to push that in, and then that little pin right there, you're going to pull that pin all the way forward, and then the cylinder comes right out. That way you can get a good cleaning in the firearm. So let's give you a good close-up here. You can see Ruger Super Blackhawk, the new model Super Blackhawk. There you go, .44 Magnum. My only complaint about this revolver is going to be the small trigger guard right there. I don't know if you can tell, but the back of the trigger guard is squared off, which I really don't like, and the handle you can't really tell because this is an aftermarket Pachmayr grip, and it kind of rounds it off, but it is square. And I wish they made that trigger guard just a little bigger, because these aren't a big pair of Under Armour gloves. They're not that bulky, but the finger groove in there is definitely tight. When this revolver is cocked and ready to go bang, I'm always a little weary about putting that glove finger in there, with a hot .44 Magnum in there. It's not quite my favorite setup. So a real thin pair of gloves, or operating this in the summer months. In the winter months, and a lot of people do hiking, and most hunting seasons are in the winter cold environment, you're going to have yourself, having a pair of gloves, or maybe get a pair of gloves with the, with a removable trigger finger, so you can operate this a little more effectively. So let's go ahead and we'll shoot some steel plates right here, just so you can see this gun in action. And one thing I've noticed about this, the sights are just a touch off. This gun shoots a little bit to the right, and I figured that out after shooting some of my steel. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to compensate for it. And you can see I have some 3-liter few punches back there that we're going to shoot up for you folks. But we'll go ahead and we'll shoot some steel plates, and we'll see how this thing rings that steel. Alright, so we got my 12-inch plate right there. You can just see it in the corner of your screen. So let's go ahead and we'll put a few shots on it. So as you can see, this thing shoots with a lot of authority. All right, ready? Yep. So folks, I wanted to go over your intended uses of this revolver. What is this revolver good for? First thing is going to be hunting. This is probably originally designed by Ruger as a hunting revolver with the long barrel, the long sight radius. You can see that rear sight is adjustable and it's all the way back at the end of it, and the front sight is all the way at the edge of the barrel. This is going to be a very accurate revolver. It's going to deliver a lot of velocity with that long barrel. Also shooting a 44 Magnum bullet, it provides a lot of power, and these revolvers are legendary for how strong they are. You can run the Buffalo Bore 340 grain plus P plus in this revolver and it'll shoot that bugger extensively. So that turns this into a real big hunting revolver or a protection revolver against dangerous game in the woods. This might not be my first choice for a dangerous game protection revolver, but I don't think it's a bad choice. The reason being, you can't just go ahead and shoot this revolver bang, bang, bang. You have to cock the hammer each time. So instinctually, if you're carrying this revolver loaded and you want to bring it into action, you pull the revolver. These gloves are so bulky, I can't even run this thing. When you put the revolver into action, you have to cock the hammer. And with gloves, it's a little tougher to do in a winter environment. And then fire it. And then you have to cock the hammer to get a second fire. And you might be better served with a Ruger Red Hawk or Ruger Super Red Hawk because it's also double action. You can just pull the trigger and it'll just go bang, 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 bang. And it might be a little better for that purpose, but it's not a bad choice. It's just not the best choice. The other thing I'll touch on, since this is a single action revolver, you have to load each round through the loading gate as we've gone over, and you have to eject each piece of brass. So once you have loaded up with your 6 rounds, that's kind of it. I mean, this will take, if you could reload this in a solid minute, I'd be impressed with that. But the time you get your ammo out, knock it out, some people are going to be a lot better and they'll be able to do it quicker if you practice on it. But these are not easy revolvers. They're not something I would want to reload under stress. So folks, we'll go ahead and unload this, and I've shot 2 rounds. You can see it, my 2 3-liters, and we'll just see how this goes. So we have definitely some live, actually we can see the empties right here. Use the ejector rod, pop it up, you can see it comes out. Next one. So we'll just take out our 2 empties. So as you can see folks, that made pretty short work of that 3-liter back there. It was pretty cool. Behind me were 2 people on a snowmobile. It looked like a father-daughter, and they just stopped to see what I was doing. And that was the second snowmobile that stopped to see what I was doing. The first snowmobile, the guy had a FN 5.7 on their pistol, and he let me squeeze off a few rounds of that. That was really cool. Very minimal recoil. I'm gonna have to get my hands on one of those to do a review on. Definitely a cool gun, and I was not a big fan of those, but I got to say, with the lack of recoil, I'll have to do a review and get one of those. But they were interested in that, and they were filming me, and they thought that was super cool to see that 3-liter vaporize. You know, what a nice thing to be in the woods here in the middle of Vermont and run into snowmobiles, people that are interested in firearms, and they're not scared to stop and say hi. And so yeah, this is Ruger Super Blackhawk. I really enjoy this revolver. I think this is definitely, this is a great gun. I like the way it's machined. I think Ruger definitely makes a quality product, and they make so many different kinds of firearms, and probably my channel just realized this throughout the years. I probably have more reviews on Ruger firearms than any others, just because they make so many different firearms, and they make a quality firearm. And just looking at this one right here, there's no machining marks on this. Everything works like it should. The fit and finish is excellent on this. It's nice. It has a very nice trigger, and it's cool. And I like cocking the hammer every time. I like the loading gate. I like ejecting the rounds. It's neat, and it brings back in, time of yesteryear with that Colt single action army. It's not a Colt single action army, but it's, once you shoot this, you're in that ballpark. You're in that vicinity. You're kind of, this is like the cousin to the Colt single action army. So my only two complaints about this gun, actually only one complaint, would be the trigger guard. I wish Ruger would make the trigger guard a little larger on here to make this a little more convenient for gloves. It's just real difficult, and when I go ahead and I cock this with my finger in there, it always makes me a little nervous because there's really no room in that trigger guard with this pair of gloves on. So rock a thin pair of gloves. Also the grips, I get the rubber Pachmayr grips. They soak up some recoil. But to me, this revolver is not too bad with 44 mag, so I would go ahead and I would take these off, and on eBay, anywhere you can find, or keep the original rosewood grips on here. They are beautiful, and that just would make this revolver just a lot prettier. And if you're looking to get into a 44 mag, you don't want to spend $1,000 on a Super Red Hawk or $1,000 on a Smith & Wesson Model 29, and you want to stay away from other gun manufacturers that sell 44 mags. This is a great revolver, very well made. This is going to handle any 44 mag you throw at it. It's cool. Just remember, it's not double action, so for home defense, might not be your best choice. For woods protection against big hairy animals, against grizz, might not be your best choice since it's not double action, but I don't think it's the worst. It's better, a lot better than nothing. I definitely wouldn't feel underarmed with this. I've shot this now a few times. I can work the hammer on this and I feel comfortable, but remember, your kind of 6 shots is it, and you have to cock the hammer every time, and once that hammer is cocked, this thing is ready to go bang. Folks, if you have any questions at all, feel free to post them below. Any comments, feel free to post them below, and I'll get back to them as quick as I can. But folks, thanks for watching. So I wanted to touch on this also. You can see some of those big 44 mag hits on the target, but I wanted to touch on how much snow we're in. That shepherd stake is probably 6 feet tall, and as you can see, 6-inch plate is all the way buried down there in the snow. So I mean, this is in like 4 feet of snow, and when I went to set it up, you can see where my foot went all the way down there, and it's just, I mean, this is at least 4 feet of snow. It's absolutely ridiculous. And my whole filming area right here is on a snowmobile trail, because I can't obviously walk in 4 feet of snow. I'd just be stuck. So thank God for snowmobile trails in Vermont, or else we wouldn't be able to bring you this video, or had to wait till the snow melts. But I'm a big snowboarder and I just love it. But you can just see there's just a lot of snow out here, but we're grateful and we're very happy to be up here. So there you go, folks. You can see the shepherd stake in its entirety with the steel targets, and it's only a few inches in the snow there, but you can see just how much snow there is. It's just ridiculous, but it's good stuff. I'd like to thank my friend Will for letting me borrow this gun. The other thing I want to touch on here was, you can see Pico, just the top of Pico Mountain in the back there. You can see the white background. Hopefully the camera's on it, but yeah, I think I got it. There you go. You can see it's covered in snow in the background, and how pretty that is. I just love being out here in Vermont in the winter.